Hi, HRN listeners. We're celebrating our 15th anniversary, and we have a really fun campaign and an ask for you. This 15th anniversary tour is aiming to bring you closer to unique food and music experiences in some of the most exciting cities in America. All the while, we're raising funds to support our work empowering the next generation of food system storytellers through our fellowship programs. Here's how it works. Donate to HRN and be entered into a raffle in the city of your choice to win a dinner for two at a noteworthy restaurant and tickets for two to a concert at a prominent local venue. We have incredible partners in New York, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Nashville, Las Vegas, Charleston, Asheville, and Ardmore, Pennsylvania, who have donated a meal for two and two tickets to a concert of the winner's choice. And all donations help fund our fellowship programs, where we're helping to build essential workforce readiness skills and food system storytelling skills. Check out heritageradionetwork.org/15 to donate and enter to win today. That's heritageradionetwork.org/15. Thank you.
Streaming to the universe live from Roberta's in Bushwick, Brooklyn. You're listening to the Heritage Radio Network.
Hello, welcome to the Heritage Radio Network's Farm Report. It's Thursday, 1 o'clock. We are brought to you today by Heritage Foods USA, and we are inviting you to join us on behalf of Heritage Foods USA this Saturday evening at 7 p.m. to midnight here at Roberta's to celebrate all of Heritage Foods USA's partners in changing the food system in the United States to be a better place. That being said, I'm here with my lovely co-host, Erin Fairbanks, today.
Hey, Heather. How's it going?
Everything is going.
And we are joined, we have a phone-in guest today, Katharine Millonzi. Katharine is the manager of Sustainable Food and Agriculture Program at Williams College. Katharine, are you with us?
I am. Hello, Heather and Erin.
Hi, Katharine.
Welcome to the show. Katharine, where are you calling us from?
I am calling you from, I am actually in Great Barrington, Massachusetts, right now in South Berkshire County. I sit on the board of the Nutrition Center here in town, which does a lot of community food access work in southern Berkshire County. So I'm here at the moment, but normally I'm up in Williamstown in northern Berkshire County, where Williams College is located.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking some time out of your day. Like many of our guests, Katharine wears many hats. Katharine, we were hoping you could start off the show today by telling us a little bit about your position and what you do at Williams.
Sure. Well, as you said, I'm the manager of the Sustainable Food and Agriculture Program at Williams College. The program is housed in the Zilka Center for Environmental Initiatives. So I work with two other women at the center. I work on the food sustainability side of things, and they are working on other carbon emissions and energy use at the school, so other environmental sustainability areas. The Sustainable Food and Agriculture Program we're in our first year there, and the program is funded by an alumni family foundation who urged the college to start such a program, and we're seeing programs, sustainable food programs and projects pop up at many higher educational institutions across the country and world. So I work with, I wear many hats even within the one job. I work with students on the educational and extracurricular side of things, and then I'm working with the dining services on the operational side of everything, helping them to connect in with the local food economy and source healthier, sustainable foods from local food producers and farmers.
Well, yeah.
So what qualifies you for this position? Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. I have, most recently, I think one of the things that really helps a position within an academic setting is being able to communicate and work with many different types of people. There's lots of sort of sub-organizational structures within academia, ranging from the faculty to people who work in dining services and facilities, to the students. Everyone has a different perspective on how the college actually runs. So I think my diverse background really comes in handy. I have most recently was in Italy on a Fulbright fellowship.
Ooh, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I was actually there 2007 to 2009, so
Nice.
a little bit of time has gone on. And I was there studying traditional Italian food production and working and researching with Slow Food International. I also simultaneously did the master's program in food culture and communications at the University of Gastronomic Sciences, which was founded by Slow Food International. So that was a broad training in eco-gastronomy and lots of food anthropology and politics, but also the sensory analysis of food and taste education. So all of those tools have come in handy at Williams, in my position at Williams.
What would you say is like one of the most important things you've taken, from Italy to the United States to this Williams college?
Well, that's a good question, and it's something that I've been thinking a lot about recently. I would say that the most fundamental lesson that I've walked away from my time in Italy with that is applicable is the importance of food culture. And that fostering, building a sustainable food culture at Williams really relies upon not only the operational reform, but changing the way people's the whole community relates to food. It's Italy and France and older cultures have a lineage that they really has carried through and automatically informs environmental parameters of a food system. So in the U.S., we really, we think of food and we think, anything, anytime, anywhere is available. We have very few parameters or very few boundaries on how we eat, where we eat it, when we eat it, and why. So I think we would really benefit as a society on the whole of recognizing that some limitations can actually be a very positive thing when it comes to food sustainability for future generations.
That's great. So it sounds like at Williams that your position was really driven out of some alumni support and funding, and really looking to make an impact both on the educational and cultural side. But this is a farm report. We want to get down to the nitty-gritty. We want to talk a little bit more about operations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it really seems like there's so many things that we could get into. So let's say I was head of a parent-teacher association, and I really wanted to make a change in the foods in the school that I'm talking about here. Where would you guide me to start? What should I tackle first? What did you do?
Well, the first thing that I did in my approach to dining services was to hold a retreat with all of the managerial staff of the dining services and to establish the criteria and definitions of what you would include as sustainable food. Yeah. This sounds very sort of basic, but what I discovered was that the definitions of sustainable food and therefore the percentage of sustainable food being bounced around was too broad for my comfort. I wanted more stringent sustainability criteria. So the first thing we did was really have establish working criteria that everyone was on the same page, because from this platform then we could assess and track our purchases, and our ordering system could be adjusted to facilitate increased purchases from the local food economy. It's amazing the infrastructural nitty-gritties that you have to get into: computer systems, ordering systems, having the distributors that are the deliveries, the distributors who the institution is currently working with, they have to be on board, because they're going to be the ones providing you with the information about the food that they're finding themselves in a new role, because no one's ever asked them about the food, so they have to ask new questions as well. The challenges associated with changing practices on an industry level are certainly vast, but they're not insurmountable. It just takes lots of face-to-face meetings with the people who really make the decisions and click the button to order the food. On the other side of things, I've been running around meeting with all the farmers in our local area and many regional farmers to say, okay, if I'm priming the school to purchase from you, we need to prime ourselves to be able to supply them at the scale that they're going to need. So it takes a lot of organization of the local farmers, and certainly enthusiasm on their part to want to supply and to tinker with their infrastructural and logistics systems as well, to be able to provide the food that we're looking for.
Wow, you brought up so many things I have questions about. So our listeners have an idea of what Williams means by sustainable. Can you share a few of the criteria that you established at your retreat?
Oh, sure. I being a slow food trained lady, I really do appreciate slow food's criteria of good, clean, and fair food. I think those three categories touch upon many of the pieces that we should be assessing. So, what Williams to be included, food purchases at Williams must meet one or more of the following criteria. One, that they're grown with ecological production methods. So that would include integrated pest management, organic certification. There are many others, certified naturally grown, but something that that the earth is being worked with in a harmonious way. And certification we do require of some sort. Second, that they are grown and processed within a geographical locale. We have defined, and this was of great consideration, but we've defined local as within 250 miles of the college. Mm-hmm. That's so that we can include some seafood, and we can get into western New York where a lot of grains are grown. And the third criteria is that the company that we're purchasing from upholds some sort of social responsibility to its employees. So they have a profit-sharing scheme. Fair trade would be counted under this third category as well. So currently, Williams spends around 10% of its total food budget on food that would count for one or more of these criteria. That sounds low, but actually the very high leaders of our peer institutions are at around 20 to 25%. So everyone's getting there slowly.
Well, what about the actual cost for not just the food itself, but what about the time it takes to, deal with it sounds like probably a lot more vendors than if you were to work with, one institutional, dining company, which, sounds like you've moved away from.
Yeah, I think that's something that comes up with institutional purchasing changes a lot, is that cost is this real inhibiting factor, both the cost of the food, but also the operational cost. So is the funding for this kind of goal of 10%, is that coming through the funding for your position, or is that something that the university is committed to? Where is that coming from?
Well, sorry, let me clarify. The 10% is what's being currently spent. Our goal is, I'd like to see 25% be the goal within the next couple of years. In terms of increased budget, I think, and especially I would encourage people who are working in institutional food reform to really get all the data and see where the money is actually being spent right now, because I have found that there's a lot of money that could be reallocated to cover the additional costs of sourcing locally and sustainably. There's a lot of sort of budging around that can be done, which saves extra cost, staying within your same budget. So if you look, a lot of money is spent in these institutions on hiring, outsourcing caterers for special events, things like that. If you start to do some of those things in-house, or if you hire local companies to provide their catering services, this is just an example, you can save money, and then the saved money can be reallocated in different ways. So I would start there before I start by approaching the administration saying it's going to cost us 30 to 50% more. Start really, get all the numbers, all the spreadsheets, and really look where the money is going and see how you can work within that first. In terms of, the grant and my program does not directly supplement dining services budget. That's something that those budgets are at the higher operational level, but I am encouraging dining to take operational leadership and see where they might be able to do some of this work themselves. I also think they have an opportunity not only to buy from existing food producers in the area, but actually drive the local food economy. I'm really interested in looking at innovative models of contract farming and other things where everyone's going to have an agreed upon price from the outset.
You're touching on something we want to get more into. Yeah. So we want to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and we want to talk about these models and templates for success in changing school food systems. So we'll be right back with the Heritage Radio Network's Farm Report.
Coming here talking about storm. How the radio say storm coming? What all you know about storm,
And we're back, Heritage Radio Network's Farm Report, talking to Katharine Millonzi, and she is the manager of Sustainable Food and Agriculture Program at Williams College in Massachusetts. And just having someone with that title is pretty exciting for us here on the Farm Report.
Yeah, just before the break, Katharine, you were starting to talk about some purchasing models that you guys have had success with at Williams. Can you tell us a little bit more about those?
Sure. Well, we are just exploring the possible models as we're in our first year of the Sustainable Food and Agriculture Program. And some of the ideas that we've been playing with are contract purchasing. So we have actually a gift in knowing as an institution, how much of certain types of food we are definitely going to need to buy for one academic year, because the student population at Williams stays the same every year. It's about 2,000 students. So that gives us a great platform for knowing how much we're going to spend anyway. Mm-hmm. And one of the models we've been looking at is saying, well, if we know we're going to spend X thousand pounds of onions a year, why don't we contract a local farmer with excess land? Lots of the farmland in our geographical area in northwestern Massachusetts is unused but very viable and very fertile. So why don't we contract a farmer to provide all of those onions for us at a cost that's good for them and a cost that's good for us? And that involves sitting down with the farmers at the time of seed ordering, in the winter months, and it involves a long-term planning strategy that really is not currently the institutional norm. So that's one thing. Another really exciting model that we've been looking for, I'm really adamant about trying to get the beef that we use to increase the percentage of grass-fed beef that we buy. Mm-hmm. And so we're looking at actually exploring the possibility of, well, what if we bought a whole steer? So buying whole steer at hanging weight and contracting with someone to actually own all of our cattle, and then send them off to be processed as needed. I mean, that's a whole new world.
Yeah, so we're talking like long term, being able to really see something happening there. I mean, that's exciting, and it sounds like the farmers, should be happy with this. I mean, have they been receptive, the farmers that you've been talking to? I mean, it sounds like, they would have some stability with what you're planning to do.
Yeah, it's. I think everyone is finding themselves in these new conversations, and it's new territory for us all. So it's a learning process, first of all, and definitely the local food producers and farmers have been receptive to the idea. There's, of course, naturally kinks and logistics to work out, but certainly everyone is realizing and recognizing that for our long-term food and water security, we're going to need to look at these long-term working relationships, these business partnerships between institutional purchasing power and the people who lovingly and hardworkingly grow our food. So it's new territory, but it is very exciting, and in Berkshire County, we're, as a whole, is really well poised right now to really be a national model for sustainable agriculture, I feel.
That's exciting. You mentioned earlier that there are some other kind of institutions out there doing this work. Who are you looking to for leadership, or who should our listeners be checking out? Or for our high school listeners, what schools should they go if they're really passionate about eating good food in the cafeteria and having access to a lot of the programs that you're developing at Williams?
Mm-hmm. Well, there are many in the Northeast. There are many report card type of rating systems that you can look up online. ASHE, I'm not going to get this right, but the Advancement for Sustainability, Association for Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education is one of them. They do ratings reports, the National Sustainability Endowments Institute. These type of things look at lots of different criteria, including dining, to rank a school in sustainability. For me personally, the models, certainly the Yale Sustainable Food Project has been a wonderful inspiration and provided much needed inspiration and different models to start off with. Each institution is really going to have its own sets of challenges, so I think it's while it's really beneficial to glean ideas for programming, especially student programming, especially with the operational side of things, you kind of have to roll up your sleeves and see how your particular institution works. Middlebury College has done excellent work in this field. Bard College, Amherst, Smith. There are too many to name. But I think everyone is kind of at that edge of just saying, "Wow, our food system as currently operating is not going to feed future generations. So we better shape up."
Shape up or ship out, right?
Yeah.
So
that's what it seems like. Yeah.
And taking a little bit of a look at the Williams website, we ran across some stuff that it sounds like has already happened at the college. In particular, we were talking a lot about dairy and the dairy industry last week, and we're definitely looking to explore that issue a little bit more on the show. Can you tell us about the replacement of your conventional milk with milk from grass-fed, hormone-free cows? I think there was a specific farm mentioned, the Highland Farm in Lee, Massachusetts.
Yes, that's right. All of our liquid milk now comes from Highland Farm. So it was pretty much a total replacement, and this happened. This is an initiative that was actually spearheaded by Dining Services a few years back, before my time at Williams. But it's been really successful, and as I understand, played a major contributory role in the viability and survival of Highland Farm, which is a 200 or 200 plus year old dairy in the heart of Berkshire County, family run. And that is a shining example of what I think could be done with so many other food products. There's we are in such close proximity to Vermont that with Vermont's wonderful cheesemakers, I think that we could also see that kind of model applied to other dairy products that the school is using.
Well, definitely a good goal. How's the response been from the students?
Oh, the students are probably the least challenging group to work with because they're so enthusiastic. I mean, I think I'm seeing a huge influx of both incoming students knocking at my door saying, "How can I get involved? Food is something that's really important to me. How can I have that be part of my college experience?" And then on the other side, there's outgoing seniors who come for basically career counseling in food and agriculture. Where do I start? What do I do? There's this whole big wide world. And usually, I mean, of course, it depends upon the student. Usually, I do give the advice to go and spend time working on a farm to really know what that is like on a daily level, to work outside, to produce food with your hands, to work really hard for at least a year or two. I think it weeds out a lot of people, but I also think from that experience, you can get as macro or micro in this food world as you want to. Even if you end up working in food policy at the UN and you have very little daily contact with soil, at least you have experienced soil in your hands. And for me, I think that that sensory understanding and the platform of very hard work is invaluable. I just wanted to mention quickly, if I may, another group here for high school students that's very inspirational. At Monument Mountain High School in Great Barrington, there's a project called Project Sprout, and they have done tremendous things at their high school. They have a website. I'm not sure, but if you look up Project Sprout in Great Barrington, a lot will come up. Sam Levin, He was a student who started it, and they have a beautiful greenhouse, beautiful garden, and Sam actually spoke in front of thousands of people at the Slow Food Terra Madre conference 2 years ago.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Katharine. It was really great to get to talk to you today. We want to take a quick minute to let our listeners know about some stuff happening in the city this weekend. Speaking of student-sponsored initiatives, the NYU Wagner Food Policy Group is putting on a fundraiser tonight at Jimmy's number 43. That's at 43 East 7th for Farm Camp at Flying Pigs Farm, a program that we've talked about on the show in the past that brings New York City food professionals up to, not actually far from you, Katharine, to explore agriculture, infrastructure, and to kind of take a look at what are the different factors that you need to build a sustainable and strong regional food system. So that's tonight. It's 8 to 11 at Jimmy's.
And then tomorrow at 7 o'clock in Brooklyn here, right off Atlantic Avenue, farmcity.us, if you want to check out their website. They're having a fundraiser. If you remember Derek Denklet that we spoke with a couple of weeks back, Novella Carpenter will be there. There'll be Brooklyn Brewery tastings. Should be a really, really nice night, and definitely for a good cause. And then to finish out the weekend, Saturday night here at Roberta's, go to heritageradionetwork.com to see the details for Heritage Foods USA celebration here at the radio studio. Big party, big fun.
Make sure to tune in next week. We have June Russell from Grow NYC. She's the Green Market Farm Inspector, kind of taking us through inspecting the farms that you find at the New York City green markets.
Nice. Keeping it all in traceability. Thank you, Katharine.
Thank you, Heather, Aaron. It's been a pleasure.
Been a pleasure. Thanks.